Shall I say hi? I'm Sophie Miller. I'm 14 and I'm going to be a freshman in the fall.
Sophie's the youngest, she's our baby.
She was a perfectly normal person who had CF, and that's how we've always approached her.
I just never really thought about it, and I just knew, that I had CF. I have to clear out my lungs because I get more mucus in my lungs than normal people do, and I can't digest my food. I ate, but I also remember I was really thin, and my family would push me to eat more, but I felt that I always ate.
We had decided as a family we would concentrate on trying to improve her nutritional status, and we pulled out all the stops. In the end, looking back on it, harder for us than it was for Sophie, because she had a lot of pressure to gain weight and to eat a lot, and it was hard on her to have to always be harassed by her parents to eat a lot of calories.
People with cystic fibrosis who achieve normal growth have better lung health and a longer life expectancy than people who do not gain weight well and who do not attain the height that we would predict for their family.
Trying to stay on the chart in terms of normal weight became a greater and greater challenge.
I felt that the disease was getting a hold of us, and it was frustrating for us to have to suddenly seemingly work hard but not get anywhere.
Some patients have great appetites and they just physically, their demand, whether it's growth or their activity level, they just are still not able to eat enough to meet their needs.
She is a very conscientious child and made good efforts to eat, and her father actually took 6 months off work, really believing that more parental supervision would help her get in the extra calories she needed to avoid tube feeding. But even with that tremendous effort, she was not able to get to her optimal weight.
At some point, we just had to make the decision of what was the better way to go. And that was the tube.
Well, my doctor suggested it to me and my parents, and we thought about it for a couple months, and then one day I came home from school and my mom said, "Sophie, I think we need to get the G-tube." And I said, okay.
Sophie was an example of how we really like to use tube feeding. She was growing fairly steadily, but was not having her body mass index curve going up towards that 50th percentile that is optimal.
This is Sophie Miller's growth chart, and you can see here that both her weight and height, there were very subtle changes over time. And you can see her weight had sort of just been cruising along, but her height was starting to take a little bit of a dip from where it had been, and was starting to cruise to a point that would be below her genetic potential. So after Sophie had her G-tube placed, her weight gain just kept kind of going up, and she had made drastic gains in her height.
I grew 10 pounds the month after I got it, which everyone was really happy about.
It was, the progress she made was almost immediate.
More color, I guess, came back to my skin and face, and I looked more healthier and felt more healthier.
Her energy level was never really low to begin with, but it was definitely where it should be. She started to fill out her clothing.
Tube feeding will allow people to start gaining weight pretty quickly in almost all cases.
There was some adjustment in getting used to having the machine at the bedside making a sound. It didn't take long for her to get used to that either, I don't think.
Before I got my tube, I always slept on my stomach. And so when I got the tube, it hurt to sleep on my stomach, and so I would just sleep on my back, and nothing really changed. I'm a really deep sleeper, and so when it would beep to tell me that it's finished and that I should turn it off, I would usually sleep through it.
I think for some kids, it might be hard for them to get used to showing their G-tube. I think that's probably been one of the bigger issues for Sophie, is getting used to being comfortable with it around her friends.
Concern with body image and how a G-tube or an NG-tube might fit into that is definitely something that we come across with adolescents and adults when discussing this decision.
A button will be visible in the abdominal wall, and it will leave a scar behind if it can be removed when the patient is older. There are lots of ways that you can cover that up in a way that doesn't look different from other people if that's your preference.
I wore one pieces when I went swimming all the time because I was shy about it and I didn't want people to like stare at it. I was afraid that like they would laugh at me. But as I got older, I just got over that. I guess I had more trust in people that they wouldn't laugh at it. If you're worried about people staring at you, it really doesn't make a difference because no one notices it when you wear clothes. And if you like want to wear a bikini when you go swimming, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think it's actually really cool. My friend drew a face on mine.
There are definitely cons to the tube feeding. It is expensive. The formula is typically not covered by insurance. The bags are not prohibitively expensive, but it is another piece to the puzzle. Is it worth it? Of course, but yes, it is an extra expense. It's 1,500 calories that I know she's getting, that I don't have to be stressed about looking at every single label that she eats, counting up the calories and figuring out if she's getting enough calories in a 24-hour period. Now I just put 3 cans into the tube feeding bag, and I know I go to bed thinking she's getting 1,500 calories. And that's pretty good. Yeah, so I like it.
Now I can lay down on my stomach and I sleep on my stomach. And I can do anything I want to right now. As long as my parents say I can.